Hey guys, Tomboy61, and today we have a review of the Murmansk, the newest ship to come to the Forge, the steel, the available for steel purchase ships in the game. So right now this is just Missouri and Murmansk, and well, we're going to talk about whether it's worth it to spend your hard-earned steel, and let me say, steel very hard-earned, on what is essentially an Omaha. Yeah, a bit of a weird choice for the second steel ship to come to the game, but Wargaming lent it to us to review, and I can't wait for them to take it back so I never have to see it in my port again. Okay, that's going to be about a summary of this. Anyways, as usual with our reviews, we're going to go ahead, cover the commander, the modules, all of that good stuff, talk about our build, talk a little bit about the history, and then we'll go ahead and show off a game in it. So with all of that said, let's dive on in. Now, this is a Soviet cruiser, so our Soviet cruiser commander is going to be Kuznetsov. He is our usual kind of guy that we run on Soviet cruisers, so why not here? Base rate's going to increase the main battery range. We're running Von Essen and Mimbeli just because those are what I usually like to run on my Russian cruisers, and I'm not changing out inspirations just for this. It is not worth it. But anyways, as far as the other skills go, we're running Beyond Range, Intuitive, Punch Through, Steer Clear, and Fully Packed. Just kind of getting the best out of those AP shells, because, well, that's what the Russians are usually best at in this game, though we do maintain some pretty good HE with the Murmansk. Let's go ahead now and talk through the modules. Well, there's only one to install, and we're going with Aiming System Mod 1 like every other time you have those mod slots. And then as far as consumables go, well, we have 3 consumables. We have the standard damage control party, 5-second duration with a reload time of 58.8 seconds. 3 sonar charges. You're going to have a range of 2.7 kilometers for torpedoes, 3.7 kilometers for ships. They're going to last 94.5 seconds, and it's going to have a reload time of 176.4 seconds. And then finally, we do have a catapult fighter with the ship. Uptime is 100 seconds, reload time is 78.4 seconds, and we get 4 different planes to launch. Those are the modules. Now let's go ahead and start to dive into those stats. So Murmansk is going to have 26,800 hit points, same as the Omaha, with an armor thickness between 6 and 76 millimeters. We can go ahead and look up that armor view. If you haven't looked at an Omaha's or a Marblehead's armor view before, let me tell you, it's pretty sad. Only 10 millimeters of bow plating, with the thickest part of the ship being that citadel. And yeah, that citadel sits right out of the armor, right out of the water. Does have 76 millimeters of plating, but a lot of things can go through that, and a lot of things will, because there's a reason Omahas are pretty much like damaged pinatas. And guess what? The Murmansk doesn't do anything to fix that. Finally, there is no torpedo reduction on the vessel, so sad news there. Next up, the main batteries, and this is where it gets a little interesting. 6 one-barreled and 2 two-barreled 152 millimeter guns, meaning you lose 2 guns compared to the Omaha and the Marblehead, which is a bit weird. You lose them on the midship. I guess you pick them up with AA fire. I don't know. Like I said, 152 millimeter guns. You do also have superior range at 15.9 kilometers. Reload time, 6.7 seconds, giving you a shell sprint of 89, the lowest between those 3 ships. 180 time on the guns, 18 seconds. Not that you'll really need to 180 anything other than the front and rear swivel turrets. HE damage, 2200, giving you 195,800 damage per minute, the lowest of the set of 3 ships. AP damage, 3,255, giving you a total DPM of 289,695. Once again, the lowest of any of the Omaha class ships that are in the game. So really, just stars and stripes above the rest there. Not really at all. Torpedoes, you also have fewer torpedoes than Omaha. 2 3-barreled 533 millimeters, so you don't have the you do not have the 4 launchers that Omaha has. Reload time on them, 69 seconds with a damage of 14,400. Detectability range, 1.1 kilometers with a speed of 55 knots and a range of 8 kilometers. AA, this is where Murmansk shines compared to her competitors, or at least compared to her sister ships. 3.5 kilometer range with a minimum damage of 51 and a maximum of 111. Max speed of the vessel, 34 knots, and a turning radius of 590 meters, with a rudder shift time of 3.7 seconds. Finally, concealment, detect delayed by sea, 11.7, by air, 7.4, and when firing in smoke, 5.9. She is the least stealthy of any of her sister ships. And yeah, that is kind of the history, or that is the stats of the ship. Let's go and talk about the history. Well, originally Murmansk was the USS Milwaukee. She's an Omaha class ship. She was loaned on over to the Soviets to kind of do Arctic patrols, to do supply convoys up in the Arctic. She did that role throughout World War II. She was then returned back to the good old United States several years after the war, where she was scrapped. But she did, when she was with the Soviets, she was commissioned as the Murmansk, and that's why we have this. And I have to say, one nice thing to say about the ship, I do really enjoy the Russian camo pattern. It is a very, very pretty camo pattern that I do enjoy. And that's all about I could say that is nice about the ship. Let's go ahead and take a look at the game. Now, you may notice in the game, we do have some fun tracers. That's because I do have one of the commander guys on Kuznetsov for this game. I think this was my first game playing with commander guys, so that's why I was like, oh, let's fire the horn, see what the flare looks like, do all that fun jazz. But yeah, we're running our commander guys. We're running not Miss Christmas, I forget what we're calling Miss Winter, I don't know. Anyways, we're running the commander guys. That's why you're going to see some of those tracers coming off the ship. And we are here on Estuary. And, well, we're in an Omaha class vessel, which means our goal is not to be shot, because pretty much anything can overmatch us and hurt us very, very badly. We're going to kind of stick to behind this destroyer, try to get him to spot for us, see if we can get him to kind of get the spotting, and we're going to see if we can kind of hide behind these islands, because that's what you kind of have to do with Murmansk. Let me just say, I am disappointed that this is what we've gotten as the next steel ship. Missouri was at least unique in the fact that it's like in Iowa with radar. Murmansk is what, in Omaha with a little bit extra range and less torpedo tubes. Like, I don't think the quality of this ship begets the hardness it is going to be to get the currency to purchase it. Because let's be clear, steel is a real grind in this game. It is well and truly a very tough grind. And for them to be like, oh, we're just going to go ahead and put this ship there. I mean, I guess historically it is somewhat significant because it was like a loaner to the Soviets, but it's not the ship where they signed the peace treaty to end World War II on, right? That is historically significant and a reason a ship is very desirable to collectors. I didn't really think Murmansk is in that caliber, because, you know, it's a Lend-Lease ship, really, when it gets down to it. It just, you know, there's tons of ships that we leased out to the Soviets and all of our other allies, because that's what was needed back then. Anyways, with that said, we kind of just have to stick a nose in, because with the deletion of those middle guns, the way you can get the most guns on target now is really to kind of do the little shuffle slide like we are right here, to be able to get the majority of guns on target. Now, we do see that we are within our firing range, that Jean Wei is kind of sneaking around the corner there, going in for an attack. We're going to try to get as many shells as we can, but as he does that, he goes ahead and drops behind the island, which gives us the benefit. We're going to set our torpedoes off that way. We see incoming torpedoes, but we do have smoke right now. We can also throw Jean Wei back in the smoke, and we are now spotting another destroyer that is coming our way, Fubuki. So we are going to kind of get ready to engage him. We've very much kind of taken over here. Luckily, our friendly cruiser looks to be, I think it's a Leander, but he sets a smoke screen for us as well, or else we would be very much exposed at this point. We go ahead and let the first set of torps down, kind of keeping an eye on Fubuki. We do only have 16 seconds of sonar remaining, but we kind of just want to keep our eye on him, make sure no torps are coming our way. Thankfully, he ends up eating one of our torps, and we are able to now just kind of start harassing this New Mexico as we try to capture the D point, and, you know, try to remain unspotted if we can, because, like I said, we don't want to be very much ahead. Now we do see that that enemy destroyer is starting to make an attack run on our friendly battleship. Thankfully, he handles it. So now it's just a matter of time of positioning and using the one advantage of this ship, you could say, which is it's better range than the Omaha. Like, that's the nicest thing I can say about it, is technically it has better range, which yay, but still you're gonna get overmatched by a ton of things in this game. So we're kind of having to play very, very defensively here, trying to keep an island between us and the Emil Burton, just to make it that little bit harder for him to engage us. Thankfully, he is kind of distracted by the Mutsuki that is currently capping D, or at least contesting D, and is a little bit between us and him. But we're trying to get that AP to work, because of course Soviet AP, American AP, both really good. We should be able to get some excellent results here. We are getting a couple of overpens here and there. Emil's turning in, which means he's going to start bouncing our shells, so we're going to have to flip on over to HE. New York takes a big old chunk out of us there, and now we're kind of having to play very, very defensively, because, well, we don't have much HP left, right? We take another good salvo from any ship, and we are most definitely going down for the day. So, good news, our team has captured the rest of the map, including the gimme cap that the enemy team gets, which, hey, good on that destroyer for seizing the initiative and being able to get into that. We're kind of the last slackers of the match, not capping our area. But as far as like an improvement for our team and how it's going for our team, I think we're doing pretty well. We're definitely setting ourselves up to win. We also have an advantage on ships. Emil is about to go down, which it does, and now we can start kind of bullying this New Mexico. We have the shell arcs to be able to get over this island right here. We should be able to just start engaging them, try to set those fires. We do have a pretty decent fire chance at 12%, which means the HE fire is very, very effective, or at least more effective than it usually would be with the Soviet ships. That's going to be our big damage causer if we can get a permafire, especially because we have all of these shells. We have all the guns on the forward part. If we can keep ourselves nose in to the enemy, it's definitely gonna be a much harder ship to hurt. And at the max range, if we can keep them at somewhat of a max range, we kind of stand a chance when it comes to being able to survive a little bit longer. But still, any gun of any sizable measure, like the New Mexico, can definitely hurt us. But our team is still doing pretty well. New Mexico starting to kind of get away. He's not enjoying the fact that he's getting surrounded by the team. He's trying to fight his way out, and I do not blame him. But as he does that, we're going to push into D, try to get the cap done on that too, because if we can get this one capped, the enemy is taking A. But if we can get D capped, then we can start rolling the points in our direction. Once we start rolling the points in our direction, we can maintain that positive points vector, that points delta that we are receiving, that we have been receiving for the majority of the match. New Mexico definitely getting overwhelmed here, as like we said, he is surrounded by the rest of his team, and we're trying to make our run for this next little island, try to kind of island hop here. Thankfully, he's not paying us much attention, though it does looks like his guns maybe. No, he's not paying us attention. He definitely has bigger fish to fry, but he is starting to go perpendicular to us, which means AP time, and those beautiful Soviet AP shells doing their work, getting a good chunk of damage here and there. Of course, we do have a fairly fast fire rate for all of the guns that we have on the ship, and New Mexico ends up going down. And at this point, we're like, okay, well, we need to capture D. There is a nearly full health Pensacola. So what is our strategy for taking on this Pensacola? We know we cannot stand up to him in a straight up fight. He has both the accuracy, he's going to out accuracy us, and he's going to out penetrate us. He will be able to kill us pretty much going through the nose. So we're going to hold our fire, try to get behind these islands over here. There's that nice kind of downward slant on the right hand side of that island, which makes it pretty good for being able to take shots over. So if we can nestle ourselves in there, teammates provide cover, hopefully we can go ahead and help out. Maybe Pensacola goes broadside, we get a couple of good hits in them. That's the strategy, and that's the plan. Enemy team only has cruisers left, but being in Murmansk, cruisers still a very much a threat. But we see Pensacola pops up. We see we're about to drop spot, so we know we should be able to fire drop spot just like that. And now we kind of are in the position we want to be in. And now it's going to be a measure of firing and maneuvering so that we maintain our firing angles. Of course, we do have 2 destroyers kind of keeping him spotted for us, which is very nice. We do hit the Citadel of Pensacola right there, which is exactly what we want to do because, well, that AP is sailing beautifully, and this is the one advantage we can go ahead and take and at least be able to do some damage. Unfortunately, we are starting to get hit the top of that mountain, so we're going to reverse, get ourselves a little bit further back. We do have the range to play with. Our shells do end up taking out the Pensacola there, and now we see a sister ship of ours, the Marblehead, sailing out there, another Omaha class type vessel, and we're going to start engaging it because, of course, fun fact with the with this ship is the guns can overmatch itself because that's kind of where we are. It's a fun time. Also, Crancy Crim pops up as well. We can see, ooh, the fireworks pop off from our wonderful commander guys right there. Crancy Crim pops up. We're like, okay, that ship's going to be our biggest threat. We're going to try to keep the nose of that peninsula between us and him. Try to keep ourselves unspotted because, like we've said before, us, not much health left. Don't want to be spotted. We're going to see what we can do with this AP because he is sailing at somewhat of a perpendicular to us, so we should be able to get some of these shells to dig in. Of course, they're coming in fairly vertically, which means we're really not even trying to hit his side armor. We're very much kind of seeing if we can penetrate his deck armor when we're coming in at such vertical shell angles because, you know, the shells are losing pretty much all of their velocity when they are finally landing and hitting on him. But we are doing some decent chunk damage here and there. We are also seeing shells land on both sides of the ship, which is encouraging to us, which means our aim point is fairly on track. It's kind of one of the things you kind of have to keep in mind with, especially with when shells keep falling short, is you want to see with if a ship is being inaccurate, you want to see those shells falling on both sides of the ship because that tells you your aim is right. It's just RNG that's screwing you. Anyways, with that, we knock him out, end the game, and we end up at the top of the scoreboard with a couple thousand of points. But yeah, guys, that's Murmansk. I would not recommend picking it up. I really wouldn't. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you like the review. See ya.